Now, the Isabel Oakeshott story has played out about as far as it's going to play out, but I've been reading what she wrote this morning in the Daily Telegraph, the interviews she gave, listening to what she said on the radio, and there's a sort of omission lying at the heart of her reasoning and her explanation. And I think that omission is possibly self-inflicted. I think she's being coy. Let me go through it. So she says that anybody who thinks that she gave the WhatsApp messages to the Daily Telegraph for money, anybody who thinks that is mad. She fully recognises that she breached an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. Well, of course, it's now questionable whether these non-disclosure agreements can actually be used. They're often used to gag people in unreasonable situations. And I'm going to get back to that because she defends herself by pointing to the public interest. I think there is another defence that she doesn't use, which I think is much stronger. And I think it's a defence that many people can use because it's much stronger. I think the NDA is something that should be abolished completely. It's there to protect very dodgy behaviour. Very dodgy behaviour. And people are forced to sign an NDA to get out of a situation. It's then presented as if they're accepting money, often. It's a cheap way of stopping a problem, and the NDA comes at the end of that stoppage. The NDA is like the icing on the cake. Now, she says that she's not accepted any money because she works as a journalist, and she's a working journalist for the Daily Telegraph. So she wasn't paid for the WhatsApp messages. She's not paid by the article. She's not paid by the she probably is paid by the hour, actually. But she's not paid by the article. She's paid as a working journalist. And the thing I don't understand is that argument works for the Daily Telegraph, but why wasn't she paid? Why didn't she demand payment from Matt Hancock for ghosting his memoirs? And Matt Hancock says we worked together for a long time. Well, in my experience, when somebody is ghosting somebody else's work, they just get on with it, and the other person takes all the credit. That's the arrangement. That's the agreement. For that ghosting, they take a lump sum. So she didn't take a lump sum, and she seems to have had to put up with lots of Matt Hancock briefing her. I suspect if she was ghosting the thing, he didn't do a lot of briefing. That's more Matt Hancock backpedaling. Anyway, whatever happened with the book, it's very strange that she wasn't paid for that either. She wasn't paid for leaking the WhatsApp messages, and she wasn't paid for writing the book. Where does she get her money from? Anyway, I like this, really. I do like this. Matt Hancock, the man with the wandering hands and the questionable morals in the stationery cupboard, is brought to boot by some sort of nun who does it for love and charity. And, well, you can't say she does it for love. I think somebody else... Oh, Gina, no, don't do it for love, darling. Just give me an HB pencil with a rubber on it. But so Matt Hancock is surrounded by these people who are just doing things for him. How does he manage this? In this case, Isabel Oakeshott is like some sort of campaigning Mahatma Gandhi who cannot be bribed or assailed, like a sort of Mother Teresa in Westminster. Anyway, she says she did it for the public interest. Good defence. And, and she's not going to dish the dirt on Matt Hancock. Well, no, not quite. She does leave a veiled threat that maybe there will be things to say in the future, but not yet. She does it very subtly. and she's good at this. Remember, this is the person who told us all about David Cameron's encounter with the pig head. Should I have a definite article before that expression, I wonder? Anyway, Matt Hancock is hugely disappointed. A betrayal of trust, but betrayal of trust. And his menacing messages, or his menacing message, actually amounts to only 2 words. 2 words? 4 words. You've made a mistake. 5 words. You've made a mistake. No, a big mistake. 3 words. A big mistake. That's apparently his menacing message. Well, I can see how that could come across. You have to be very careful about what you pen these days. Matt Hancock will not be commenting further. As with Boris, he would be better off being silent. But as with Boris, Matt is unlikely to be silent. It's not a likely forecast of reality, is it? Oh, and also Isabel Oakeshott has form. If you go back to her Twitter account in July the 18th, 2021, she talks about her frustration that Boris Johnson and Rishi Sunak were exposed to Matt Hancock, or Matt Hancock was exposed to them, and yet they did not then go on to self-isolate when he thought that he had the virus. And she says that she's horrified that so many people around the UK were forced to self-isolate, were forced to miss funerals, weddings, were forced to keep their children away from school and so on. And yet, when it suits the political elite, these rules don't apply. She says this is crassly insensitive, politically deaf and blind to people you have forced to make sacrifices. It's like a giant 2 fingers of contempt. And the contempt that you are showing with this decision is abominable. She calls the government a shower, and yet it's this person that Matt Hancock approaches to ghost his memoir. Had he not read her Twitters? Did he not know anything about the political comments of this particular lady? Now, let's go back to the reasons why you might dump an NDA. So public interest is one, because you don't think it's appropriate is another. But the overriding one is that you cannot be forced to sign away your legal rights. You cannot be forced to do something, or to agree to do something, which is illegal, or which constrains you in some sort of, constrains you from doing what is legal. So, arguably, keeping mum about gross negligence, incompetence, or actual bloody-mindedness by the people who are making decisions and who are directly responsible for the misery and deaths of many, many people around the UK, maybe a case could be made that it is morally wrong, maybe even legally wrong, to keep quiet. And I would like to see that case advance. I would like to see what sort of weight that case has. I think when people are imposing these NDAs, they just simply think this is going to intimidate. This is going to intimidate, and you should be lucky that you get out here in one piece. Well, thank you, Isabella Oakeshott, for making it clear that the NDA is a waste of paper. And I hope more people will come forward to demonstrate that NDAs are worthless. We should have contempt for the way in which the elite in our country are silencing those people who often feel they have no choice but to accept this ridiculous piece of paper. The NDA is morally wrong.